Right now, we're going to continue reading this part, number 12. Right now, we're going to continue reading the 12th chapter of the book The Long Walk by Stephen King, written under the pseudonym of Richard Bachman. Goes like this. Chapter number 12 of The Long Walk. Page number 269 of this particular edition, which contains 4 books in total. Chapter number 12. I went down the road was muddy. I stubbed my toe was bloody. You all here? Children's hide and seek rhyme. Somehow it had got around to 9 in the morning again. Ray Garrity turned his canteen over his head, leaning back until his neck popped. It had only just warmed up enough so you could no longer see your breath. And the water was frigid, driving back the constant drowsiness a little. He looked his traveling companions over. McBride had a heavy scrub of beard now, as black as his hair. Collie Parker looked haggard, but tougher than ever. Baker seemed almost ethereal. Scrum was not so flushed, but he was coughing steadily, a deep, thundering cough that reminded Garrity of himself long ago. He had had pneumonia when he was 5. The night had passed in a dream sequence of old names in reflectorized overhead signs. VZ, VEAZIE, Bangor, BANGOR, Hermon, HERMON, Hamden, HAMPDEN, Winterport, WINTERPORT. The soldiers had made only 2 kills, and Garrity was beginning to accept the truth of Parker's cracker anthology. And now, bright daylight had come again. The little protected groups had reformed. Walkers joking about beards, but not about feet. Never about feet. Garrity had felt several small blisters break on his right heel during the night, but the self-absorbent sock had buffed the raw flesh somewhat. Now they had just passed a sign that read Augusta, 48, Portland, 117. It's further than you said, Person told him reproachfully. He was horribly haggard, his hair hanging lifelessly about his cheeks. I'm not a walking road map, Garrity said. Still, it's your state. Tough. Yeah, I suppose so. There was no rancor in Person's tired voice. But I'd never do this again in 100,000 years. You should live so long. Yeah, Person's voice dropped. I made up my mind though. If I get so tired and I can't go on, I'm gonna run over there and dive into the crowd. They won't dare shoot. Maybe I can get away. It would be like hitting a trampoline, Garrity said. They'll bounce you right back onto the pavement so they can watch you bleed. Don't you remember Percy? Well, Percy wasn't thinking, just trying to walk off into the woods. They beat the dog out of Percy, all right. He looked curiously at Garrity. Aren't you tired, Ray? Oh, shit, no. Garrity flapped his thin arms with mock grandeur. I'm coasting, couldn't you tell? I'm in bad shape, Person said, and licked his lips. I'm having a hard job just thinking straight, and my legs feel like they got harpoons in them all the way up too. Then McBride came up behind them. Scram's dying! Scram is dying, he said bluntly. Garrity and Pearson said, "Huh?" in unison. "He's got pneumonia," McVry said. Garrity nodded. "I was afraid it might be that. You can hear his lungs 5 feet away. It sounds like somebody pumped the cough stream through them. If he gets hot again today, he'll just burn up." "Oh, poor bastard," Pearson said, and the tone of relief in his voice was both unconscious and unmistakable. "He could have taken us all, I think. And he's married. What's his wife gonna do?" "What can she do?" Garrity asked. They were walking fairly close to the crowd, no longer noticing the outstretched hands that strove to touch them. You got to know your distance after fingernails had taken skin off your arm once or twice. A small boy whined that he wanted to go home. "I've been talking to everybody," McVry said. "Well, just about everybody. I think the winner should do something for her." "Hey, like what?" Garrity asked. That'll have to be between the winner and Scramp's wife. And if the bastard welches, we can all come back and haunt him." "Okay," Pearson said. "What's to lose, right?" "All right, sure." "Have you talked to Gary Bakovich?" "Hey, that prick! He wouldn't give his mother artificial respiration if she was drowning." "I'll talk to him," Garrity said. "You won't get anywhere." "Just the same, I'll do it now," replied Garrity. "Ray, why don't you talk to Stevens, too? You seem to be the only one he talks to." Garrity snorted. "I can tell you what he'll say in advance." "No?" "He'll say, 'Why?' And by the time he gets done, I won't have any idea." "Skip him, then." "I can't." Garrity began angling toward the small, slump figure of Barkovich. "He's the only guy that still thinks he's going to win." Barkovich wasn't a dose. With his eyes nearly closed and the faint peach fuzz that coated his olive cheeks. He looked like a put upon and badly used teddy bear. He had either lost his rain hat or thrown it away. "Hey, Barkovich!" Barkovich snapped awake. "What's the matter? Who's that?" "Oh, Garrity?" "Yes, listen, Scramp's dying." "Who?" "All right, Beaver Brains over there. Good for him. He's got pneumonia. He probably won't last until noon." Barkovich looked around at Garrity with his bright black shoe button eyes. Barkovich looked slowly around at Garrity with his bright black shoe button eyes. Yes, he looked remarkably like some destructive child's teddy bear this morning. "Look at you there, with your big earnest face hanging on, Garrity. What's your pitch?" "Well, if you didn't know, he's married, and..." Barkovich's eyes widened until it seems that they were in danger of falling out. "What? Married? Are you telling me that Numbskull is..." "Shut up, you asshole. He'll hear you." "I don't give a sweet fuck. He's crazy." Barkovich looked over at Scram, outraged. "What did you think you were doing, numbnuts? Playing gin rummy?" He screamed at the top of his lungs. Scram looked around blearily at Barkovich and then raised his hands in a half-hearted wave. He apparently thought Barkovich was a spectator. Abraham, who was walking near Scram, gave Barkovich the finger. Barkovich gave it right back, and then turned to Garrity. Suddenly, he smiled. "Oh, goodness," he said. "It shines from your dumb hick face, Garrity." Passing the hat for the dying guy's wifey, huh, right? Ain't that cute? Count you out, huh? Garrity said stiffly. Okay. He started to walk away. Barkovich smiled, wobbled at the edges. He grabbed Garrity's lips. Hold on. I didn't say no, did I? Did you hear me say no? No. No. Of course I didn't. Barkovich's smile reappeared. But now there was something desperate in it. The cockiness was gone. Listen, I got off on the wrong foot with you guys. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean to. Didn't mean to. Shit! I'm a good enough guy when you get to know me. I'm always getting off to the wrong foot. But now there was something desperate in it. The cockiness was gone. Listen, I got off on the wrong foot with you guys. I didn't mean to. Shit. I'm a good enough guy when you get to know me. I'm always getting off the wrong foot. I never had much of a crowd back home. In my school, I mean. Christ, I don't know why. I'm a good enough guy when you get to know me. As good as anyone else. But I always just, seem to get off on the wrong foot. I mean, a guy's got to have a couple of friends on a thing like this. It's not good to be alone, right? Jesus Christ, Garrity. You know that? That rank? He started it, Garrity. He wanted to tear my ass. Guys, they always want to tear my ass. I used to carry a switchblade back at my high school on account of guys wanting to tear my ass. That rank. I didn't mean for him to croak. That wasn't the idea at all. I mean, it wasn't my fault. You guys just saw the end of it. Not the way he was, ripping my ass. You know. Barkovich trailed off. Yeah, I guess so, Garrity said, feeling like a hypocrite. Maybe Barkovich could rewrite history for himself, but Garrity remembered the rank incident too clearly. Well, what do you want to do anyway? You want to go along with the deal? Sure. Garrity said. Barkovich's hand tightened compulsively on Garrity's sleeves, pulling it like the emergency stop car on a bus. I'll send her enough bread to keep her in her clover for the rest of her life. I just wanted to tell you. Make you see a guy got to have some friends. A guy's got to have a crowd. You know? Who wants to die hated? If you got to die, that's the way I look at it. I. Sure, right? Garrity began to drop back, feeling like a coward, still hating Barkovich, but somehow feeling sorry for him at the same time. Thanks a lot. It was the touch of a human in Barkovich that scared him. For some reason, it scared him. He didn't know why. He dropped back too fast, got a warning, and spent the next 10 minutes working back to where Stebbins was, ambling alone. Ray Garrity, Stephen said. Happy May 3rd, Garrity. Garrity nodded cautiously. Same goes both ways. I was counting my toes. Stebbins said companionably. Companionably. They are fabulously good company because they always add up the same way. What's in your mind? So Garrity went through the business about Scrum and Scrum's wife for the second time. And halfway through another boy got his tickets. Hells Angels on Wheels stenciled on the back of his battered jeans jacket, and made it all seem rather meaningless and trite. Finished. He waited tensely for Stebbins to start anatomizing the idea. Hey, why not? Steven said amiably. He looked at Garrity up and smiled. Garrity could see the fatigue was finally making its inroads, even in Stebbins. You sound like you've got nothing to lose, he said. That's right, Stebbins says jovially. None of us really had anything to lose. That makes it easier to give away. Garrity looked at Stebbins, depressed. There was so much truth in what he said. He made their gestures towards Scrum look small. Don't get me wrong, Garrity, old chum. I'm a bit weird, but I'm not an old meanie. If I could make Scrum croak any faster with by withholding my promise, I would. But I can't. I don't know for sure, but I'll bet every long walk finds some poor dog like Scrum and makes a gesture like this, Garrity, and I'll further bet it always comes at just about the time in the walk, when the old realities and mortalities are starting to sink in. In the old days, before the change and the squats, when there were still millionaires, they used to set up foundations and build libraries and all that good shit. Everyone wants a bulwark against mortality, Garrity. Some people can kid themselves that it's their kids, but none of those poor, lost children. Stebbins swung one thin arm to indicate the other walkers and laughed. But Garrity thought he sounded sad. They're never going to leave any bastards. He winked at Garrity. He winked at Garrity. Shock you? Uh, I guess not. Hmm. You and your friend McVroy stand out in this motley crew, Garrity. I don't understand how either of you got here. I'm willing to bet it runs deeper than you think, though. You took me seriously last night, didn't you? About Olsen? I suppose so, Garrity said slowly. Stebbins laughed delightedly. You're the bee's knees, Gray. Olson's had no secrets. I don't think you were ribbing last night. I don't think you were ribbing last night. Oh, yes, I was. Garrett smiled tightly. You know what I think? I think you had some sort of insight and now you want to deny it. Maybe it scared you. Stebbins' eyes were gray. Have it how you like it, Garrity. It's your funeral. Now, what you say you flake off? You got your promise. You want to cheat it. Maybe that's your trouble. You'd like to think the game is rigged. But maybe it's a straight game. That scare you, Stevens? Take off. Go on. Admit it. I admit nothing. Except your own basic foolishness. Go ahead and tell yourself it's a straight game. Thin color had come to Steven's cheeks. Any game looks straight if everyone is being cheated at once. Hey, you're all wet. You're all wet, Garrity said, but now his voice lacked conviction. Stebbins smiled briefly and looked bound down at his feet. They were climbing out of a long, sway back dip, and Garrity felt sweat pop up out of him as he hurried back through the line where McBride's person, Abraham Baker, and Scrum were bundled together. Come on, activate yourself. Okay, I'll ask you. They looked like worried seconds around a punchy fighter. They were climbing out for a long swipe back dip, and Garrity felt sweat pop out of him as he hurried back through the line to where McBride's persons, Abraham Baker and Scram, were bundled up together. Or more exactly, the others were bundled around Scram. They looked like worried seconds around a punchy fighter. Hey, how is he? Garrity asked. Why ask them? Scram demanded. Sorry, I just heard a noise. Why ask them? Scram demanded. His former husky voice had been reduced to a mere whisper. The fever had broken, leaving his face pallid and waxy. Okay, I'll ask you. Oh, not bad, Scram said. He coughed. It was raspy, bubbling sound that seemed to come from underwear. I'm not so bad. It's nice that you are what you are doing for Kathy. It's nice what you're doing for Kathy. A man likes to take care of his own, but I guess I wouldn't be doing right now to stand on my pride. Not the way things are now. Hey, don't talk so much, Person said. You'll wear yourself out. Ah, what's the difference? Now or later? What's the difference? Scrum looked at them dumbly, then shook his head slowly from side to side. Why did I have to get sick? I was going good. I really was. Odds on favorite. Even when I'm tired, I like to walk. Look at folks. Smell the air. Why? Is it God? Does God do it to me? I don't know, Abraham said. Garrett felt the death fascination coming over him again, and was repulsed. He tried to shake it off. It wasn't fair. Not when he was a friend. Hey, what time is it? Scrum asked sullenly, and Garrett was eerily reminded of Olsen. 10 past 10, Garrett said. Just about 200 miles down the road, McBride added. My feet ain't tired, Scrum said. That's something. A little boy was screaming lustily on the sidelines. His voice rose above the low crowd, rumbled by virtue of pure shrillness. Hey Ma, look at the big guy. Look at that moose. Ma, hey Ma, look. Garrett's eyes swept the crowd briefly and picked out the boy in the first row. He was wearing a Randy the Robot t-shirt and goggling around a half-eaten jam sandwich. Scrum waved at him. Ah, kids are nice, he said. Yeah, I hope Kathy has a boy. We both wanted a boy. A girl would be alright, but you guys know, a boy. He keeps your name and passes it on. Not that Scrum's such a great name. He laughed, and Garrett thought of what Stebbins had said about bulwarks against mortality. An apple-cheeked walker in a droopy blue sweater dropped through them, bringing the word back. Mike. Of Mike and Joe, the latter boys, had been struck suddenly with gut cramps. Scrum passed a hand across his forehead. His chest rose and fell in a spasm of heavy coughing that he somehow walked through. Those boys are happy from my neck of the woods, he said. We all could have come together if I'd known. They are the neck of the woods, he said. We all could have come together if I'd known. They are Hopis. Yeah, Person said. You told us. Scrum looked puzzled. Did I? Well, it don't matter. Seems like I won't be making the trip alone anyway. I wonder. An expression of determination settled over Scrum's face. He began to step up his pace. Then he slowed again for a moment and turned around to face them. It seemed calm now, settled. Garrity looked at them, fascinated in spite of himself. I don't guess I'll be seeing you guys again, There was nothing in Scrum's voice but simple dignity. Goodbye. McBride was the first to respond. Goodbye, man, he said hoarsely. Good trip. Yeah, good luck, Person said, and then looked away. Abraham tried to speak and couldn't. He turned away, pale, his lips writhing. Take it easy, Baker said. His face was solemn. Goodbye, Garrity said through his frozen lips. Goodbye, Scrum. Good trip. Good rest. Good rest. Scrum smiled a little bit. The real work may still be coming. He sped up until he had caught up with Mike and Joe. With their impassive faces and their worn leather jackets, Mike had not allowed the cramps to bow him over. He was walking with both hands pressed against his lower belly. His speed was constant. Scrum talked with them. I'm almost there. They all watched. Oh shoot! I deactivated I turned off my candle. Let's see. They all watched. It seemed that the three of them conferred for a very long time. Now what the hell are they up to? Person whispered fearfully to himself. Suddenly the conference was over. Scrum walked a ways distance from Mike and Joe. Even from back here, Garrity could hear the ragged bite of his cough. The soldiers were watching all three of them carefully. Joe put a hand on his brother's shoulder and squeezed it hard. They looked at each other. Garrity could discern no emotion on their browsed faces. Then Mike hurried a little and caught up with Scrum. A moment later, Mike and Scrum did an abrupt about-face and began to walk toward the crowd, which, sensing the sharp tang of fatality about them, shrieked, unclothed, and backed away from them as if they had the plague. Garrity looked at Person and saw his lips tighten. The two boys were named as they reached the guardrails that bordered the road. The adult faced smartly and faced his oncoming half-track. Two middle fingers stabbed in the air in unison. I fucked your mother and I'm sure she was fine, Scrum cried. I fucked your mother and she sure was fine. Mike said something in his own language. A tremendous cheer went up from the walkers, and Garrity felt weak tears beneath his eyelids. The crowd was silent. The spot behind Mike and Scrum was barren and empty. They took a second warning, and then they sat down together, cross-legged, and began to talk together calmly. And that was pretty goddamn strange, Garrity thought as they passed by, because Scrum and Mike apparently Scrum and Mike did not seem to be talking in the same language. He did not look back. None of them looked back. Not even after it was over. Whoever wins better keep his words. McBride said suddenly. He just better. No one said anything. And this is the end of the audio. This is the end of the video. This is the end of the chapter number 12 of the book The Long Walk. Written by Stephen King under the pseudonym of Richard Bachman.